Hello everybody, welcome back. Another beautiful day in New England here. It's like 45 degrees today. It is unbelievable for February in Massachusetts. We typically have a couple feet of snow or something hanging around. So anyway, welcome back to my show. Thank you everybody. This is Steve Anwood from Steve's Garage, and we've been getting a lot of great response on this thing. And everyone loves the Duesenberg copy that I'm making here. And of course, everybody loves Earl. So this is Earl's job to stand here and hold the signs. Today he's got a sign up. Earl. It says, "I like skirts." That's wrong. What it's supposed to say is, "I like Fender skirts." Now, Earl, how many times I got to tell you? He's always doing something like that. So it says, "I like Fender skirts." Now, Fender skirts are a big debate. A lot of guys hate them. I go to shows like, I like it better without the Fender skirts. And I used to have a 54 Buick that had the Continental kit on it. And one guy comes up with a beer in his hand and says, "It looked better without the shit kit in it." So, it's just, everyone's got an opinion, obviously. And but I personally and Earl like Fender skirts. So today we're going to build a Fender skirt. Try to get through the whole thing. If we don't, it'll be part one. We'll have to do part two. As you notice, I try not to make my videos too long because you lose interest. So you're going to watch it so long, and then let's go on to the next thing. So I try to do under 20 minutes if I can. Goes longer, it is what it is. But just from experience from what I've seen already, people like the shorter videos, and we get a lot more hits on them. So, Fender skirt. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bend some 3/8 inch round bar around here, and I'm going to come down here, and then I'm going to have fasteners that we'll go through afterwards, which I have these great, it's like a rivet. And it's a rivet with threads in it. And we have them, 1/4, 20, and 3/16, 5/16. So various sizes. And then on the outside you put stainless steel acorn nuts, and it really dresses it up. It's just a cool effect. So what I've got here is some 3/8 round rod in hand. And what I did to get the length is I took some tape and very simply put your tape, if you're trying to get a radius, put your tape on there. You don't have to put it on all fancy or nothing, just get it to where your radius is going to be. And there you have your tape. Now take your tape back off. Oh shit, I wrecked it. So take your tape back off. A little fast there. Then find any straight edge that you can hook a tape on. Put it on to the edge here, so your end right here. Then hook your tape on here and go out to the end of your tape, and we know we need, this says 57 inches. So like everything, make it a little longer because you don't want to, have it short. You can always cut it off. So it calls for 57. I'm going to make it 60. So I'll have another 1.5 inches on each side that we can cut off afterwards, depending on how the circle comes out. Now, with that said, I love that saying, with that said, so now we've got a 3/8 round rod. And you always want to mark your center out on your round rod, because when I roll stuff, I start from the center, and I go in one direction, come back, go in the other direction, and then I come back to my center, tighten back up, and go again. Because I found if you just keep going back to one full length for your and keep tightening down on this end, then this end will be a much sharper curve than the other end. And that's just what I found from my personal experience. So we're going to take and put the glasses on. It's lovely getting old, getting blind. And so we'll hook it on. I already cut this piece to 60 inches. So I know at 30 is my center. And then give yourself a nice big line all the way around so you're not looking for it. You just put a little tiny line on there. You're always searching for where the hell's that little line. So I like to put a big, nice big line on there, you know? Can't miss it. Another thing that I do, we're going to move over to the roller and I'm going to show you what's happening here. Say hi to Earl. Hello, Earl. Everyone says hello. So, here's my roller. And what I like to do is put a center line all the way down this piece of steel. So I know where the top of my piece is all the time, because if it starts to roll, you're going to get like a screw effect or a piece of elbow macaroni, you know, out of line. So I just take and simply hold my finger on the side and I just go down, down, down like that. I'll put this in here. And now you can see I got my center line all the way down there. So what I do with that now is I take a pair of vice grips. Another thing is on that skirt, we'll go back to that for 1 second. I'm going to take the camera off and take you with me. So on this skirt, it looks like a straight curve, but at the very bottom here, you can see it straightens out for like 4 inches, like a 90 square, okay? And probably just about see that. And on both ends, it does the same thing. So what I do is I mark off the end here 4 inches, and I'm just eyeballing it because my eye's pretty good. So 4 inches, do the same thing down the other end. Again, we'll mark it 4 inches. Now just for the hell of it, let's see how the old eye is. There's a tape measure. Look at that. 3 7/8, but like I said, close enough. Here's the other end. Oh, we're a little long on that end. So I'm going to remark that end a little less. So we don't want to roll this past that because we don't want to curve back here. You know, we don't want this curved. We want that square. Now another thing I'm going to tell you guys, again, from experience, is that I take a vice grip, and this line that you see there, I want that line to be on top all the time. So I take a vice grip, and I crank it right onto the end, so I know I can hold that line straight up and down. And if I focus on keeping that line straight up, straight at the top, as I roll back and forth, this thing will stay in a nice, you know, flat piece instead of one end being 4 inches one way, the other end being 4 inches the other way. It's, again, from experience, this is what I found out personally. And again, I just want to say that I am not a metal guy. I'm a woodworking guy, but you know what? They kind of all go together in a way. It's all math, is the bottom line. It's all math, some know-how, and you go from there. So now I'm going to roll this to the center. Like I said, I had my center line on there. I'm going to give this one full crank. I'm going to roll it out, holding that. We'll go down the other end here. And I was holding that vice grip to keep that line right on top. All right. Now with one turn, you can see that it already has an arc in it. Not much, but a little. So I want to move it a little at a time. If you go too much at one shot, you're going to get a big corkscrew. And again, don't rush anything when you're doing this stuff. So we're going to go for a second one. There's two. I'm looking through, I can see through the other side, see where I am. I'm not coming off the roller. There's that. We'll go back to center. As you can see, we're got a pretty big arc there now. That's our third turn. Back to center. I'm hoping you can see on the camera how much of an arc that's taken. Oh yeah, you got a good view. So now we'll go one more turn. Back to center. We'll go one last turn. I'm thinking that that's going to be pretty good because we're right now in a half circle. I can show you that. And now you can see for yourself, this is a half circle here coming down to the other side, and that's in good shape. So I'm going to pop my pliers off, my whiskers. I'm going to loosen this by 3 turns. 1, 2, 3. Another thing that I've got to insist on for you guys is that you count all the time. Always count your turns because you got to make 2 sides. So by counting the first one you make, you can get your second one perfect. All right. Let's see what we got. I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna get a couple of clamps. There's my center line. There's that. I can see that. I have to bend this out a little bit because this was straight here. So you can see what I got. This is level pretty much. So this comes way in. That's got to be straight. And same on the other side. So we'll go to the vise. Andy's Handy Vise. Pretty good. Remember when you're bending things to try to keep it on plane. So like I said, there's, if you can look down and see that, it's not exactly in line. This piece on the end here tilts in towards me. So what I'm going to do, put this in the vise here. I'm going to just horse that thing a little bit. We got a little more to go. Actually in the opposite direction. One more pull there. And that's pretty good. So I don't know if you can see down that from end to end. Got a mess here, but it's pretty much in line with itself. It's hard to tell on the camera, I think, but we've got it pretty flat, my point. So let's try to get it in place. So we've got this piece here has to come in more. Actually, because we're making metal skirts to go on there, maybe I'll just pull together anyway and get that from the metal itself. So there you have it. So now we've got the start of our skirt. We've got the 3/8 round rod on there. All right. Nice bend of the roller, easy. By making that piece a little longer, we've got some extra to cut off down there on both sides. Better to be long than short. So here we have our sheet metal just about ready to go. And I'm going to lock you into place again. I'll show you what we did here. These clamps, by the way, are awesome. They're just spring-loaded. So instead of, using screw-type clamps or any other type of clamp. It's just very simple to use, easy on and off, no click latches and all that kind of stuff. And that's that. So what I did when I made the pattern for those fenders, I took dimensions from Duesenberg fender. This says rear Duesenberg fender, and the date's still on here, 1/15/22. So it's literally a year and 3 weeks ago that I've made the pattern to start this. And this is, actually this was the original straight line cutout for the rear fender. And this went all the way around. And then this is the cutout for what we just worked on. But then I took the pattern I had left over, and I cut this to make the front fender. And so that's the pattern for the front fender itself, okay? So I keep the patterns, I date the patterns, just so I know what went on when and where, all that kind of stuff. So now, this is the cutout of the interior of the wheel. So that cutout is right to this line right here. So then I added 2.5 inches because I want to make sure I got plenty of material, which I'll cut the excess off after, to go when I weld this piece to that piece of steel, and then I can peen it over and round this over back to the car, and then we'll put rubber welting in between to keep it off the paint job. So what I did was I took a compass and I added a piece of, or I taped on a marker, and then I measured from the point to the marker. That's 2.5 inches. And then we're just simply going to go like this here and mark that off. Now I also put a line on here, you can see my finger, that I left a 1/2 inch on the bottom, so we can put a 90 on that. Then I can do a little shrinking and I can get a curve in this piece, okay? So that is where that's going. Put the compass aside. All right now, I'm going to take and cut these pieces out. Simple as all get out. Now what I've got to do is turn the compressor on, so we're going to have a little bit of noise, because I use a air-driven shear to cut these. There you have it. All right. So, what do we got? So what I'm going to do is, if you look here, I've got a line marked out where we're going to put a 90 on that right away. So let's bring it over to the bender, or the brake, whatever you want to call it, and we will get that bent. There we have our 90 to get us rolling. Gives us strength immediately. All right. And let's bring it back to the table. Now what I've got to do is clamp that round stock back on here and mark the bottom where my 90 is. So we're going to turn everybody around. As you can see, I'm trying to get a little better with my camera work. I don't know how it's working out. Feel free not to tell me how it's working out because I've got eyes. I'll put this down here. Cool. All right. Now. So again, if you can see center line. This is going to fit in. I've got a raised bead rolled here, and now just so you know, I've contemplated this for a long time, whether to do Fender skirts or not, and the answer is I'm doing them. I like them. I like Fender skirts. I think it adds a lot to any project. And I've got like old school in nature, man. It's just the way it is. And it's my car. So that's the bottom line. No matter what anyone thinks, my project. So now you can see we're clamped on. I'm outside that line where I want to be. When you start bolting stuff together, everything will come out in the wash, and we're going to have what they call welting. It's the rubber that you see in between fender skirts, and that keeps the metal, so you're not metal to metal or paint to paint, and you don't destroy everything you worked so hard to achieve. So I'm going to mark the bottom of this sucker here. Like that. That's that, easy as pie. Take that off. I'm going to say out. Don't forget to mark your work. I'm marking that out so I know that this is going to lay down on top of the metal, and I didn't do anything, you know, it's symmetrical, but there's always a chance that it's not, and the way you marked it out with your cuts, it's not going to pan out. So I guess what I'm always getting at is always, you know, count on the worst happening, because it will. Never trust any of your measurements. Check them twice, and you'll be in good shape that way. So let me get some gloves. In here. So you can see I wear a full face mask, gloves. You want to be safe, guys. It's a hobby, no sense in hurting yourself. Just having fun here. Thick, heavy leather gloves. Warm in here today. My big windows face south, so we get a lot of sun in those windows and it warms up. So now what you can see, or will see, is this bar stock is into my 90. I'm going to take and I'm going to weld this all the way around inside here, and then I'm going to take and hand peen this work all the way over. I'm going to take a measurement and I'm going to retrim this. Again, better be a little long than too short. I'm going to retrim this and peen it so it comes level here, so it'll be touching, you know, that piece of steel will be touching the card pretty much. And then we can sand it down, file it, and make it round. So that's the beginning of the Fender Skirts. We're at just about 40 minutes. So I'm going to cut out for this one. We'll do a part 2 because there's a long way to go. And we're going to get those lines marked onto the new Fender Skirts. And I think it's going to look really, really awesome. And don't forget, good old Inspector Earl says, I like Fender Skirts. So everybody, be kind to yourself, be kind to everybody else, and keep at it. And hopefully you like Fender Skirts. I'm sure you'll let me know. Have a great day, everybody, and see you soon.